So just lately I've been making some serving boards and charcuterie boards. And in this video I'm going to show you how I made this lovely, rather large pizza cutting board. Stay tuned and check it out. So here's the piece of oak that I'm going to be working with, and as you can see it is all glued up together. I got these nice straight edges by running these two pieces through the table saw. That gave me a nice straight edge. Then I was able to use the biscuit jointer and put 3 biscuits in either side on both joins. It's been gluing up and clamped up overnight and it's ready to rock and roll. So here's the template that I made for my pizza board. It is quite large, but I wanted to make sure it's big enough to cover most pizza sizes, and I think that pretty much will do that. So this is my template, but in order to make my template, I had to make these templates on my laser machine. Because my laser machine won't cut something that's that big, I had to make 2 smaller parts, and I used this, turned it around, trimmed it, and then used this bit to make the handle. So I don't really need this now, but I will keep it because got a feeling that might come in quite handy for something. That looks quite cool. So we'll put that to one side, but this is what we're working with. So now I've got my template, I can place it on my board and draw around it so I know exactly where I'm going to be machining, and then I can get the jigsaw out and cut round that line, just so I'm not taking too much off when I trim it with the router. You might just be able to make out these lines here where I've got the biscuit. So I did roughly draw where this is going. So the biscuits will be hidden when this actually gets cut out here, here, and here. So what I'm going to do at this point is just place my base on here, get it roughly in the right position. And that's going to be somewhere about there. So what I'll do is make a nice strong marking around it so it's really clear, and I'm going to be cutting round this close to the line with a jigsaw, and then I'm going to use a flush trim bit on the router, which will obviously trim it to exactly the same size as the template. There we go, there's our pizza base. So let's get this cut with a jigsaw. With that cut, I've got about 2 or 3 millimeters to take off with the router, which is perfect. So what I need to do now is put this template on my board, and I don't want to put too much tape on it because I'm going to be clamping it down to the surface anyway. And I know from experience, if you put too much of this on, it can be a real bugger to get off. So I'm literally going to put 3 pieces on. I'm not going to put a piece on here because that makes it easier to lift off. So I'll put 3 pieces on there. And then I've just got to get this roughly central, just so there's something to take off all the way round like that. There we go, push that down a couple of times and already that's not going anywhere, but once it's clamped down that'll be perfect. You know what time it is? It's router time, and I'm using this rather large flush trim bit. Yeah, bad boy. Fantastic, there we go. That's come out all right. A little bit of sanding, but there you go. Should be able to pull this off relatively easy. There we go. And what I'm going to do at this stage is just take that edge off slightly, just because it's a little bit rough. Just a bit of 120 paper. That is an awesome pizza board. And next thing I want to do is put a round over on it, but because I've just got a tiny bit of a step where it's joined, I'm just going to get the sander on it just to smooth it over, which will make rounding over the edge just a little bit easier. Just before I put the round over on the board, I want to put a hole in the handle, and I'm doing that with a 20mm diameter Forstner bit. Just like that. And then before I do any final sanding, I just need to fill some of these holes. I know this one's going to take a couple of fillings, but we'll get a little bit in there, like that. And then just get a couple of these others filled in. And then we've got a few more on this side, but they are very small. And what I have noticed is that when it's been filled and then oiled, you really can't notice that it's been filled. Now the filler's dry, I'm going to give it a really good sand with some 80 grit paper, followed by some 120 paper. So here I'm just getting a few of the small burn marks off and just making it a little bit smooth around the edges. Now the board is fully sanded, it's super smooth, it's completely clean. I've given it a vacuum so there's no residual dust. I've given my workbench a clean too. So the next thing to do is oil it. And for that, I'm using this Barrettine Worktop Oil. It's food safe, scratch resistant, liquid resistant, and it has a 4-hour drying time. So for this is going to be perfect. I will be applying 2 coats as this is bare wood. I like to apply it with my hands, obviously with gloves on, but a good quality brush or cloth is ideal. So because this is bare wood, it is going to need 2 coats, and being a hardwood, it is going to take longer for the oil to penetrate. So we want to make sure there's plenty on there, but at the same time, not too much. But already, this is going on really nice. And look at that colour, that is beautiful. Okay, that's completely covered. Just going to wipe it off in the direction of the grain. And what we're going to do is just leave that for 15 minutes, allowing that oil to sink in. And then we'll just wipe off the excess and leave it to dry. So I've left that for about 20 minutes. And now I'm just going to wipe off the excess with a lint-free cloth. Just wait for that to dry now. Once that first coat dried, I gave it a light rub down with some 240 paper. I gave it a second coat with the Barrettine Worktop Oil, and now here it is. It's absolutely lovely. Got a lovely finish on it. It looks lovely. It's got really nice colour. The oil has really helped the areas where I've had to put some filler in it. It doesn't look like filler at all. It just looks like the natural wood, and I'm really pleased with it. So there you go. So that's how I make a pizza board. I'm going to leave some details in the description below for this Barrettine Worktop Oil and some of the other tools I used for this project. I really hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.